Marvel Studios' Eternals introduces us to some incredible new superpowers, which is why I'm speaking with VFX Supervisor Stephane Ceretti. Hey, Steph.
Hey, Lorraine.
The first time we get to see the Eternals' powers in modern day is when they're in London and they take on the Deviant Crow. Could you talk us through that scene?
Well, it's a sequence that comes a little bit early in the film. You've seen a bit of the Deviants in past times, but in this moment, we really introduce the leader of the Deviants, which is Crow. Cersei, played by Gemma Chan, lives in London. So we had that beautiful location of Camden. So the Deviant comes from the river. Cersei does a bit of transmutation on the ground to fight that Deviant. There's also a sprite that uses our illusions to kind of confuse the Deviant. And Icarus shows up and flies. So it was a good way to introduce the characters.
You had to work with the incredible director Chloe Zhao. Did she give you any particular direction as you began to work on this scene?
She comes with a background of shooting on location, shooting in nature. So one of the approach for the filming was really to try and shoot on location as much as possible. So we tried to keep the shoot as loose as possible to really frame the actors, how they move and how the camera is moving. Chloe really likes very wide lenses as well, so you see a lot of the environment all the time, which creates some complication for us because you see much more than you usually see when you use longer lenses.
Definitely. So let's talk about a few of these moments, like when Sprite manifests all of these different illusions of her and Cersei in order to confuse the Deviant Crow. What was the process like for creating that sequence?
We had to do a mixture of shooting on location, then shooting multiple passes with motion control cameras of the actresses on a blue screen stage and being in different positions for every shot, creating that library of elements and matching the light that we had on the bridge. And then also further away from the camera, we could use digital doubles, so animated versions of Sprite and Cersei that we could duplicate and animate in the background and make it feel like there's multiple versions of the two characters.
That's incredible. All right, let's talk about one of the moments that is so surprising but also so beautiful. That moment when Cersei turns the bus into rose petals. What was the process like for bringing that moment to life?
One complexity of that moment was to make it a believable moment. So the previous was really mostly about trying to find the right dynamic, the right animation for the bus and for Icarus and Crow hitting it. So that was pretty important for us to know, all the distance and the speed of the bus and where everybody had to be at that moment to make sure that everything was in place. Then after that, we had a bus on the day for the shoot. The bus that you actually see coming in the street is a digital bus. We scanned the bus, the London bus, and replicated it in the computer, and it's a digital bus. The only thing that we had left of the bus really at the end was the actual bus driver, who is a real bus driver from London. The idea was that he was buried under these petals. Pretty much all the petals you see in the sequence are digital. We had a few little red petals on the floor, but clearly not enough to do everything we needed to do. I really like the moment of the bus, actually, because I really like the unexpected nature of it. We tend to do a lot of destruction in our films, and this wasn't a moment like that. It was a moment of danger that transforms into a moment of beauty, and it's kind of magical and whimsical. It makes the movie a little bit unique in that sense.
The scene is so incredible, but looking back at the entire film, what are you most proud of?
There's so many things in this film. We're creating all these old civilizations and we're nowadays, and then there's stuff happening in space. We've really worked really hard to trying to convey the idea that the events that were happening on a planetary level. Conveying that scale in simulation and effects and all that stuff was really complicated. I'm very proud of what the teams at our visual effects studios have done and how much they've put into, their heart into it.
Absolutely excellent work, and thank you so much, Steph.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Everyone, go experience Marvel Studios' Eternals only in theaters now.